we are going for this South Korean actor and actresses compatibility reading. So, what's the reason for divorce? There are many signs of divorce, but first of all, I think they were very incompatible to begin with. First of all, if we look at the Venus mount, her Venus mount is very developed, it's fulsome, it's round. And here, if we see his Venus mount is lacking, it's not protruded, it's a normal length. So, what happens is that the people who want to have children together, they usually have the similar Venus mount. So I think one problem was that maybe she wanted children, he didn't want children, so maybe that was the reason for divorce. I don't know, I haven't read any article on it, but I would assume that that was maybe the reason for the divorce. And other aspects also are there. One is that the fate line here is starting from underneath the lifeline. So there is the the underneath the lifeline fate line, and then we see that the fate line is starting from the wrist side here. So the fate lines are also different. One fate line is starting from the wrist, the other fate line is starting from under the lifeline. Then next we see that the Apollo mount are both are developed. Here the Apollo mount is developed. On this hand, the Apollo mount is developed, and also on this hand the Apollo mount is developed. So we see both Apollo mounts are developed. So Apollonians, they don't get along well with each other. They fall in love very fast with each other and they get married very fast, but they don't enter a long lasting relationship. For the Apollonian, they have to be married to a Venusian person with the Venus mount more protruded. So Apollonians and Venusians get along, but Apollonians with Apollonians, they can get along for a good short-term relationship, but long-term relationships are not recommended. And then we see that also the marriage lines. Here we see an early relationship very early on, maybe at 18. Then we see this relationship, which is the marriage clearly, but it's going downwards. The marriage line is going downwards, which indicates divorce. Then at 42, 43, there is one other marriage line. So maybe she'll get married at 42, 43. I can't see this as accurate as here. I can only see, I think, a single or marriage line here, which is going straight, but the timing is of the both have the same timing. So this worked out. Maybe it's going downwards in the end. We never know. We can't see because the clarity of the picture is not that good. But here we can clearly see that there is a marriage line in the same timing. So there is also that. Next, we look at the heart lines. We see that the heart line here is going upwards and connecting with the both the two between the two fingers. Here we see that the heart line is going mostly straight and is starting from Jupiter. So this is also that the heart lines are incompatible with each other. We see that this person is very idealistic and not emotionally well balanced. But here we see that for her, she is very well balanced emotionally. So there is that. So this also is incompatible. For short-term relationship, I would recommend them, but for a long-term marriage, they are not compatible at all. The headline is also for her is going downwards and forking, which shows imagination and good balance of imagination and practicality. Here the headline is short and going straight. So the headlines are also not that compatible. Again, for a short-term relationship like boyfriend and girlfriend for 2 years, they were married for 2 years. For that, I would recommend them. But for a long-term relationship, they are not compatible at all. So this is why they got divorced, and most probably the children was also a reason why they got divorced. So if I was to give this a rating, I would give it a 5 out of 10. That they are very incompatible with each other for the long term. For a short term, they are compatible. For the long term, I can't see them being compatible. So this was all for the reading, guys. If you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.